As Nigeria prepares, of course, to mark its 64th independence anniversary tomorrow, which is the 1st of October, a different kind of celebration is unfolding. I don't know if that is a celebration, but more of a tension. It's unfolding now. Thousands of Nigerians are gearing up for nationwide protests, expressing frustration over the economic hardship, insecurity, and perceived bad governance. The protest tagged hashtag Fearless in October 1st and hashtag End Bad Governance Protest in Nigeria 2.0. Now, this is really a very serious situation. You know, when they say 2.0 or 3.0, it's like a tad bit an increase of what has happened. Followed the August hashtag End Bad Governance pro demonstration that saw violent clashes and calls for, some people called for a regime change. So basically, these are the things that we are going to dissect more, and we have someone joining me, Choji Pwakim. He's the executive director of Youth Initiative Against the Violence and Human Rights Abuse. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning. Good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right, first let's talk about this protest. The fact that it is happening in the 1st of, or it's supposed to happen on the 1st of October. Now, do you think that this protest could change or shape, the narrative of Nigeria's independence celebration?
Okay. Basically, like it has already been established that protest is a fundamental right and also part of every democracy, which also means that every leader who is leading under democratic tenets must accommodate the expression of displeasure of the citizens with policies. The protest for me, even the October 1st to 10th protest, was more or less like an opinion poll on what the government have been doing. Where people have said, no, your policies are causing a lot of pressure on people, making people to lose hope. And that is why the number one key victims were the ones that were actually on the streets. Now, coming back to the October 2.0, it's more or less like still saying that, oh, we protested for 10 days. We didn't see any impact. And that was even when these young people were planning for the protest for September, for October, for August, they said, if you do not succumb to our demands, we are going to come for the second one in October. And it's like they're keeping to their words. So for me, protest is good, acceptable. How do we manage it in such a manner that it does not escalate? And this again brings us to how prepared is the Nigerian security architecture prepared to ready and capable to respond to these demands. Bearing in mind that this protest thing have actually come to stay, and every government that comes on board must really be ready to accommodate this, because people have become very reactionary, very concerned about their policies, because in time past we used to have free lunch in Nigeria, but now every lunch must be paid for. And the actions of government again is aggravating. For instance, in Plateau State, there's a young man, Samuel Bature, who will be arraigned in High Court 8 simply because he raised concerns about Governor Mutfan's expenditure pattern, where they say that he bought a car of 280 million naira. So these are all issues that are likely. People are saying, oh, we are hungry. Government policies are putting pains on us. Yet governments seem to be careless about the demands of the people, and which also means that these young people are likely to continually go on the street. And that is why our call here is that let's avoid the situation whereby this.
I don't know if you can hear me, but with all of this happening now, the decision for this protest to happen 1st of October, considering it is anniversary of Nigeria, don't you think this would, change and shape a different narrative when it comes to Independence Day that is meant to be celebrated?
Independence is about freedom. independence is about we are happy that the British left and we are taking our decisions that we are better under our own leadership than under the leadership of the British. So if over the years we have not benefited, we have become poorer as they left, it is our own way of expressing these concerns. So if young people, protest generally is all about dragging attention. It's more or less like a propaganda mechanism. So if on the day that we are saying, oh, we're celebrating 50 whatever independence of Nigeria, and there are people who are saying that, no, government policies are putting pressure on us, that Independence Day protest is the best. But again, we can avoid it. A statement, a policy statement can actually change the dynamics of the protest that may likely happen by tomorrow. Funny enough, with all the resources, these are now the concerns of these young people. With all the resources that Nigeria is blessed with, there are no deliberate government efforts to see that the economy dances, at least, is favorable to them. People are paying more school fees, more money for school fees. They are earning less. People are paying more on electricity. There is apparently less government interference in economic well-being of these young people. And that is why they are on the streets.
All right, so now let's talk about the demands of these protesters, Jacob. First of all, these protesters in August 1st to 10th demands made a lot of demands, which some of them were not really aligning with even some of the civil society, which was pushing for some kind of anarchy. So based on this hashtag Fearless in October protest that is gearing up, have you looked at the demand and do you think this is achievable?
Now, out of all the demands that have been raised, there are two fundamental demands that are key, two demands that are key to the well-being of the citizens. The issue of electricity tariff and the issue of pump price. Every other thing we can make do with them, but these are the life wire, especially the pump price of electricity is the life wire of every Nigerian. It is affecting lifestyle, losing jobs. People are losing jobs. People are losing their dignity. People are feeling grateful of even being Nigeria. Funny enough, even for people who japa, now it is not easy to leave this country because of the cost of dollar. So, regardless of what, we agree that the last protest, not everywhere was violent. Like for Plateau, it was well managed. And now that protest is now going to happen, there's now a deep reflection that even we, the civil society, were supposed to do. How have we empowered the people? Have we built the capacity of people enough to understand that protest is not about zanga-zanga, but it's about zanga-zanga of Lumana? That when you go to the street, it is not riot, that it is an expression of your disagreement with government policies. And that the more we are on the street, the more government knows that there are more people who are unhappy. So government must accommodate these new realities that are coming on board and must know that citizens are now more concerned about what happens to them. The issues that these young people are bringing are issues that affect our well-being. And that is why it is easier to mobilize people. But again, we show this to which some of these protests have been executed, like the display of foreign flags at those grounds or calling the military to take over. Regardless of how bad a democratic system is, a military system of government can never be appreciated more than a democratic system, because under democracy, we have freedom to express ourselves, that even if you put anybody back, like the young man that will be arraigned today, High Court 8 in Plateau State, there is the opportunity for a judicial, processes, and we can even begin to make some agitations, and this case may even be withdrawn. Young man have the right to express himself. So a lot of conversations are there that this is just, and somebody said 2027. Before even the 2027, there's the possibility that there is going to be persistence of this protest as we go forward. Is government ready to shit its mouth? Is government ready to really understand that truly people are hungry, that people are hungry and people are angry?
Okay,
Let me call your attention to one reality.
Let's talk about
There are, once we have people who have nothing to lose,
Jacob, let's talk about
on
the
the
government
street.
response right now. Do you think that if the government's response might impact the protest outcome?
Very well, very well. You see, well, let's look at the trajectory. What happened on the 4th of the protest? When the president made his speech, it was a different, the day that the president made his speech, it changed the dynamics. Nigerians were expecting some leeway, were expecting some decisions that would have changed, that would have shown that they are remorseful and they are ready to listen to the protesters. But again, so when the statement did not go in line with the aspirations of the people, the next day people were willing, people came out more in number, because a certain young man said that no, the government have not had us. We need to do a lot of things to show the government that we are serious in this. And these are the kind of things that make protests to escalate into aggression. Because when people continue to make demands, have made sacrifices to go to the street, and you are not ready to make some adjustments to your policy, then it means also that government is being recalcitrant in this approach to the yearnings of the people, and that is why when people are now going to the street, they are now going to be more violent than ever before. So now this is not our call, but our call is that we must avoid the protests, meet up to few of these demands. They are very practical. And the ones that you cannot meet up to, explain to citizens that you cannot meet up to these demands, and citizens will understand with you.
Yeah, so basically demanding transparency in all of this. All right, so we've established that it is the right of Nigerians to go out and protest and show their grievances in all of this. But you'd agree with me that last time, August 1st to 10 came with an unexpected, even though there was a bit of prediction of violence, but the level of it was unexpected. And we pointed out the fact that, yes, Nigerians were angry, so they got aggravated, and there was little to no presence of organizers there. So let's talk about organizers' efforts in sensitizing, these protesters on this intending October 1st protest. There is that fear that people do not understand implications of some decisions that they made, which of course the government is holding people by their throat based on the arrest that was made, even with treasonable felony. So what are the organizers doing when it comes to making sure they take charge and their strategies when it comes to this intending October 1st protest?
Okay, let me put it this way. The protests that are happening in Nigeria, whether from the NSAS protests to the End Bad Governance protests, 1.0 now 2.0, it has not yet moved from protest to movement building. And so you get to see on protest ground, you just see few people who are passionate about the peace of their communities come out to begin to give leadership. Over the years, because of government response to protests, people have always shied away from identifying that they are organizers, whether at federal level or state level, which has limited even the impact of some of these protests that have made people to say, okay, since you're going to arrest organizers or protesters or protests, it is better that we will hide behind the scene and we don't show our faces to give direction that we are likely the organizers of this protest. So on protest ground, only on few instances, like the case of Plateau here, we had a lot of people who came out and said, who gave the face, like Mbuba, Isa and Mbuba, Mildred Bako, and a few of these people came out to say, oh, we want to give leadership. We want to say, when these young people want to go into excesses, we are there to really tell them, no, you don't do it. We're here to protect national assets. The country we want to better bargain from, we must protect it. That was the reason why they didn't have. So across the state, people must be bold enough to say, this is a fight for democracy. This is a fight for the betterment of this country. Can we identify ourselves and say, hey, we may not be the organizers of this protest, but we are here to give face to this protest. We're here to ensure that people to not take the laws into their hands. For instance, you cannot go and burn a government facility in the name of protesting. So which means that beyond the organizers of this protest, on the platform, for instance, the commissioner of police and his men actually gave a very good support system to the protest itself. So where they were not so harsh, they cooperated with the face, with those people who said that they were like the face of the protest on ground. So as far as the faces of people are missing on protest ground as the organizers, it becomes a work for everybody and a work and a job for nobody. So nobody can be held accountable. It is not there for the security. So government in its attitude must accommodate the excesses of, must accommodate those people who say that, oh, we are organizers, and be friendly to them so that we're able to have it under control. While on the other hand, security must be willing and ready to really treat these protesters with some level of dignity and fairness because they have the right to express themselves.
All right. Basically, you're saying the security of Nigerians and properties is all in our hands, and other people need to even put on. And of course, the government, that's your call. The government not to, show some kind of intimidation to organizers. That way, we can have a face to them. But then let's talk about roles now of civil society, opposition parties, and even the citizens play. We've seen a back and forth between the ruling party and the PDP, where the ruling party are insinuating that the PDP are pushing for anarchy, and then the opposition parties technically are saying our hands are off. We've seen civil societies come out to call on the government to at least address the people and show some kind of concern and leeway to say we are going to do all of this, and also citizens. So what is your call on these different parties, including the citizens, when it comes to this protest, and why you think it had to happen?
Okay, first of all, let me use our experience here on the plateau. It wasn't a PDP and an APC conversation on the plateau. It was more or less like we have a PDP government that is sympathetic to the APC government at the federal level. And so, as far as you go to the street, you are just anti-government. So the conversation whether PDP or APC, for me personally, I feel that they are all part of the same problem. Because if we had set our house in order right from when we got independence, under successive government, today we wouldn't be struggling about universities paying light bill of
Jacob, do we still have you? I think the network is breaking. I don't know why that is happening. I think we get to have Jacob back because I really want to hear his take on this particular situation, because everybody, based on what he said, everybody has a role to play, and coming from someone who is in a civil society organization, wanted to hear that take of everybody's expectation and role to play. There's been a push towards, that this protest, from the one that happened, previously to now, they named it as a political driven protest, as though it does not reflect what Nigerians are going through. So I wanted to address that, of course. And talking about civil society, earlier we had phone calls of people talking, saying there could be some compromise on some level, but we've seen some civil society wholeheartedly, being patriotic about all of this. Do we have Jacob back? Jacob, are you with us?
Yeah, I am here.
All right. So yes, you were talking earlier
Can
about
you hear me?
the allegations of other opposition parties participating in this or having a play in this.
So
tell us the roles that you think these people play, both when it comes to political, the CSOs, and even citizens.
So, back to the conversation, we're able to link it. It has been like the normal conversation of one party accusing the other. But this is a situation that all the two parties and the rest have are the ones that have pushed when a system, when a country is impacted by a corruption, governance system, maladjusted, whatever that it is, it affects every sector. And that is why I followed your program before this guest appearance. And I like the fact that there were people who said even the civil society have compromised. So you get to see that today, for instance, if we have a network or coalition of civil society, we cannot sit down and discuss this issue and engage it the way that it is. We're supposed to even give dimensions, deeper coordination of this protest because we're expected to, it is believed that we work with the people and we have the trust of the people. But most of the times you get to see when you hear us make utterance, there are some of this decay in the system that we have not been able to address. But this protest is now calling our attention. We're having reflections at civil society, whether at coordinated groups across the country or at different state levels, to see, okay, how prepared are we to give coordination to protests? How, because we have contextualized all the different protest groups that happen across the country, and which one turned violent and which one did not turn violent. Two, outside of that.
Yes, go ahead, Jacob.
Which one turned violent and which one did not turn? Are we together?
Yes, of course. Jacob, can you hear us? All right, I think we lost him due to network. I don't know if we can still have him.
I can hear you.
All right. All right, Jacob, I have a quick question for you.
Okay, there were analyses
considering
around.
the government, prides itself as a government that goes out of the country to bring, investment to the country. Now, don't you think this protest would, soar the reputation of Nigeria, in the international world? What is your take on that? Do we still have Jacob?
Okay. It's not today that the presidency or even our governor started moving.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
It is not today that we started hearing the presidency traveling out of the country in the name of looking for investors. And this attitude have trickled down to even our governors. Now, any investor that you're bringing to the country that cannot address the issues of poverty, unemployment, Nigerians will tell you that you've just gone for your tourism. Now, the issue of the same man eat and drink because you can't even think of even low E, the level of reasoning is limited. And as far as the level of reasoning is limited, they don't look at the long-term goal. So in 21st century, we're still thinking of people being hungry. And that is why we cannot, even when government have good intention. I have talked about this issue of removal of foreign subsidy, the issue of floating of the currency as key strategic government moves. Yet, the timing of this intervention and the experience of the nation does not accommodate those things being done at this point in time. And that is why people are more hungry. And that is why whatever good intention, government intention that you have to address the problem, you cannot, because you're still dealing with people who are hungry. So whether reputation, before we think of reputation outside of the country, people are asking themselves, can they eat a meal a day? Can they eat two? Can they eat square meals? Can they live comfortable? Can they be free to live in their country? Can they go to farm and come back alive?
All right, Jacob, let's
hear can I go to
call those who want to go to the Nigerians that decide to go out tomorrow, come 1st of October. What is your call on them or to them?
Let them be peaceful. We cannot go and destroy any facility that you see on ground. It's for you to protect it, not to destroy it. Because you cannot, if you're truly demanding for a better country, a better bargain for yourself in this country, you must protect, because whatever you destroy, government is going to use more money to replace it. And that is where you're giving them room to do extravagant expenditure beyond its own. You must make arrangements to protect public properties. The security on their
I appreciate you, Jacob. I mean, due to time, of course, constraint, we have to wrap up the show. But thank you so much, Jacob Choji Pwakim, Executive Director of Youth Initiative Against Violence and Human Rights Abuse. Appreciate him for joining us. Yes, if come October 1st and you decide to go out, please stay safe. And of course, the responsibility is on the federal government, security agencies, the organizers, and even you as an individual to make sure that everything goes smoothly if at all this protest happen. With that, of course, we would wrap up this segment of the show, and when we come back from the break, we will dive into the newspaper analysis by taking a look at the front pages. Stay with us.